I don't know who you call yourself Morpheus, but you ain't delivering people. Jesus Christ is the only way. Let's stop right there before I get back to the lesson. Stop right there for a moment. Ladies, gentlemen, let's stop right there for a moment. Please, 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 I beg of you with all the power that I have, please put on your adult Pampers or boxers and listen to this. Why would anybody tell you that their religion is the only way? If a person tells you this is the only way that you can live, the only way you can live, listen, that's a system of control. There is no such thing as an only way. There's a song that they made. They said this song go like this. It says, God has a way that you can't go under. God has a way that you can't go over. God has a way that you can't go around. You must go in at the door. You got that? That's actually a song it's a gospel song that they sing. They also tell you that, again, God is the only way, the truth, and the light. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Slow down. Somebody already got this somewhere in the classroom. Listen, let me tell you, look, the way, slow down for a minute. The way, the truth, and the light. Look at those three words. The way, the truth, the light. What does light represent? Knowledge. Knowledge, right? Let's go back to the Adam and Eve story for dumbs. I always say dumb because, well, it's a dumb story. Adam, Eve dumb, dumb is in it, so it's a dumb story. Okay. What was the apple? Knowledge of what? You do your just diligence and you figure that out what the apple was. Why would you put that there? That will help a person to navigate through life and understand more about what they're doing, whether it is right or wrong. Why would you put that there to tease them? Here we go. The beginning of manipulation. The beginning of your programming. Let's talk about truth. Well, I want you to know that there are at least 12 or 13 other religions, and a lot of them aren't saying Jesus. And guess what? People are still living for years. As a matter of fact, Egypt was erected. Egypt was functioning. Egypt had people working on the pyramids. Egypt had people that lived quite well for many of years, and they knew nothing about the gossip of, let me see if I can throw something at y'all that y'all already know. Yahshua. Okay. You see, I didn't say gospel. I say gossip of Yahshua. They knew nothing about what happened in Adam and Eve dumb days for dumb children who never grew up. They knew nothing about it. But guess what? Some of you never asked the question as to how did they exist for so many years without your book made from Johann Gutenberg or a printing press from somewhere when it was created. You got to remember the gossip wasn't then. That came way after. But you know what? Your pyramids have been sitting there for decades. I'm not going to say decades, for an awfully long time. I'm not even going to say the time frame, because I could be wrong now, because so many years have passed since my recent studies. I've learned these facts several years ago, and it blew my mind. And I've spoken about it. I just lost track of how long it really was and how long it's been sitting there. Way before when you say gesture was walking on water. As a matter of fact, gesture did not exist in that time. Mind blowing, isn't it? But yet y'all walk around talking about the beginning was the word was God, the word was with God. No, the beginning was a hieroglyph. The beginning, ladies and gentlemen, was symbols. It was scribbles. It was pictures. And mind you, they were very talented as well. Not words. Words is the fall of your intelligence. Words is a more debased, actually a worse form of communication than symbology, than physical expression, than not needing words, but being able to speak with each other physically, mentally. If you don't understand that, I made an audio called Symbology of Communication. You need to go there, my classroom. If you don't understand what I'm saying now, that's your fault because you don't want to dig into it. Just like you do your Google, you go look into your glove compartment to see the manual of your car to figure out what's going on. Check out that audio and you can figure out what I am talking about here. Unless you already know. That's why I tell you, you need to go to first grade first in my academy, which means my first audios, my other audios before you come here. All right. So truth is, it's laughable towards the entire country because there's plenty of people who've lived quite well without the indoctrinated truth. How can it be truth if it's indoctrinated? If it's truth, it stands for itself. Truth don't need you to defend it. You know how wonderful truth is. Truth is like a flame of fire. Everybody has it somewhere in their house. You got a gas stove. You have a match. You probably might have a lighter or something like that. You know, your cars sometimes have a little miniature combustion in the combustion engine that creates a certain amount of flames that are there. Sometimes you can see the afterburning or the after effects when it reaches the oxygen level when it comes through the exhaust pipe, depending on how your car is made. So it's practically everywhere, but everybody respects it as what? As fire. And they are able to use it however they need it. But guess what? It's truth. It doesn't need you as a pastor or a pilfer of tithing and offering and a person's consciousness, which that's what they steal when they're in the church. When you're sitting there listening, they take your consciousness away and give you subliminal misdirection, and you don't know it while you're sitting there. They open up your black box of the back of your unconsciousness and put stuff in it while you are just willing to give up everything else that you have and your time. You understand? So, therefore, when we talk about truth, it's laughable. It's very much laughable because truth don't need you to defend it. It don't. It really don't. Because it's going to stand up for itself. It's going to speak for itself. And it's going to be accurate all the way across the board. There are many cultures that, check this out, it's so deep that even every other culture on the face of the planet, they understand how fire burns and what to do with fire. Whatever that they use it on their stoves, the concrete stove that they may have to make bread or something like that, or to warm themselves up at night, like a universal thing. Same thing. And they don't have to argue with it. There's no debate behind it. You don't see people debating how fire burns. They just know it's dangerous and it can burn. It's so simple as that. But yet, why could you have this thing that can be diced up and manipulated? Nobody's dumb enough not to believe that fire burns. You ain't gonna see no ignorant idiot that's gonna stand there and say, well, I don't know what you talking about. Fire don't burn, and they jump right into it. Just think about that. It's almost like when you hear people say, well, my religion is better than yours. My facts is more truthful than your facts. I don't have to believe in what you believe in. When they walk away from it, that's no different than jumping in fire. There's no different than stepping on the fire and saying, no, it's not true. But you know what? It's happening and they're not burning. You get that? Are you understanding what I'm saying? They're not believing in the system, but yet they're still living a very fruitful life, as a matter of fact. And they're happier without your book. And probably don't even know anything about it, especially the North Indians or the Aztec Indians. Some of the Indians never knew nothing about the Bible, about your religions, any of your religions, especially Christianity. You bring it to them. What is this? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We've been here for thousands of years without your indoctrination, and they've been living quite well. So why don't you answer yourself that question? That should actually debunk your story right there. You should actually sit down and take a prayer yourself and figure that out. If you're saying this is the way, the truth, and the light, and they're still existing, how come they're still breathing? You know what your pastor will say? Oh, because God has long suffering and mercy on them. Oh, okay. Well, you let me know that after they outlive you to be 89 years old and you passed away at 60. With a Bible next to you. You let me know how that goes, because I see that every day. You let me know. You let me know how that goes when they're eating berries and healthy food and they're living quite well, even though they're not as popular or well off like America is. but they're doing quite well. You let me know how that goes when you're living like an automaton and a zombie and never live your life to the fullest, but they are, and know everything about nature that you don't know of. You let me know how that goes. Okay? It's not about grace or mercy. They're living their life as nature directed them to do, not indoctrination. The westernized civilization is all about being indoctrinated. Some, not all, some other countries aren't about being indoctrinated. That's why, listen, that's why their families are doing well. That's why some of them, they are together. That's why some of them, they don't deal with womenism. That's why some of them, they are doing quite well when they raise their kids. That's why some cultures, before they come here, they understand in man, woman, child, nothing less. You come here to the West, everything goes down the toilet immediately because you come into a system of robots who love to be indoctrinated and love to be told what to do. So you let me know how that's working out for you here in the current generation and get back at me. Okay. Now let's talk about the way, the only way. Now, I already pretty much destroyed that by talking about the truth. It's not the only way. Not when you have 12, 13 other different religions and cultures and ideas. Get out of here. Just listen. The hardest thing for a person to do is to take a program book and close it and walk away. That's the hardest thing. Because that program book has been with them since they was a child. You get what I'm saying? That's the hardest thing for them to do because you did. Listen, let's go deep with this. Let's take one more step further into the rabbit hole. Let's be real. All right, Frank. The real big reason is if you spend 30 years in something that somebody told you about, you put your time in it. Your parents lived and died there. You've been praying all that time. You've been sacrificing. You've been so-called fasting. It's actually going on a diet, ladies and gentlemen. I don't stand by fasting. It's called going on a diet. Fasting, I'm just going to say it because I'm a professor here in the academy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. The dumbest thing. As a matter of fact, when I was 11 years old and I heard the pastor talking about we need to go on a fast this week. Okay, in my little child like mine, I said, what the hell is that? Why don't you just say you're going on a diet? Y'all going to go on a diet so you can cleanse your body. And he wants you to believe that you're actually starving yourself in order to get God's attention, to cleanse your soul and your spirit. And he doesn't tell you anything about health. That is actually something that you should do even on your own for your mind, body, and spirit, to cleanse everything that you have in order to get yourself in order. It have nothing to do with your spirit. Your spirit's attached to your flesh. But then he will teach you, or she sometimes, or it, which is your Bible, will try to tell you, well, the body's of evil. The body's wicked. The fleshly body is something that's an abomination to God. It's full of sin and iniquity. Well, then why do you have it? Oh, no, here you go. Why are you here then? Why are you here, Pastor? Why are you here? Why are you in my face then? Why are you standing in my face with your body then if it was so evil? That means it's significant. I mean, are we that backwards, and is our intelligence that small? Because you need it. So it's not significant. It's not insignificant. It's sufficient and it's important to you. Your body is just as vital as your mind. Your mind is just as vital as your spirit. That teethers when I tell you often when they talk about, oh, bodily exercise profited little. Okay, go ahead and tell the doctors that. Go ahead and tell them that. They would love for you to just go ahead and just think like that for the rest of your life. They will get rich off of you. Come on to the hospital. Come on. Go on and just let yourself get 300 pounds full of diabetes. One of your eyes is twitching. You know, your varicose veins look like you got wires all wrapped up around you, right? You know, one side of your lobe, your breast is bigger than the other. Go ahead. And you limping down the hallway. And you got to have surgery every year. Go ahead. You do that. You keep thinking that way while you're praying your health away. Keep doing it. And I can guarantee that's just about a guarantee right there. Almost a promise that I don't even have to say. You can figure it out for yourself. Keep saying bodily exercise profits little. It profits a lot. It is essential to your existence while you are here. It's your car that you need to take care of while you're in the land of the living, buddy. If you don't get that, have a seat in my corner over there with that chair that's tailored for you. Sit in it for a little while you're listening to me talk to the other classrooms. You stay over there because your ignorance is a disease and we don't want it. Frankly speaking. So let's flip this page over to my gentleman who I'm speaking to. And why is this so significant, ladies and gentlemen? Why is this significant? Because it was easy for me to be as happy as him so many years ago. I was that person who would sit back and say, well, God's going to cover it all. Jesus got it handled. Whatever struggle that I go to or go through, it's going to be, well, there's going to be some grace. There's going to be some mercy. God's going to step in and protect me and help me and so forth and so on. Okay. But as I told you in my other audio, I got an audio and it may be before this one or after this, but it's here. It's called God is Not God. I know for some of you that's like, wow, Morpheus, I can't believe you just said that. No, check that audio out. And you're going to understand, again, another reference of what I'm talking about. God is not God. There's a lot in that. That's the title, but there's so much more into the context of that, or contents. And just basically saying, well, everything's going to be all right if I just believe. I don't have to deal with the outside world or nature. I don't have to deal with my own personal struggles that I need to be accountable for. But what woke me up, what really opened up my mind is when I started thinking for myself, things got bad. Things got out of control. Things wasn't so comfortable. The moment I stopped saying, well, Jesus, you take care of it. And I start saying, no, I am going to take care of it. Things got bad. Now, I know what you're thinking right now, and your ministers and pastors, they'll say, well, because you decided to take up the responsibility on your own, you didn't let God guide you in their mind. And you was probably rebellious, and you was probably disobedient, and you want to do it on your own. And the Bible tells you don't lean out to your own understanding. Uh-oh, ladies and gentlemen. Did you hear what I just said? Lean not onto your own understanding. So basically, I'm not allowed to understand anything and just let this invincible Casper the ghost lead me around without thinking. Uh-oh. Here is your grid work and this is your blueprint to being a zombie right here. This is your blueprint and I'm actually exposing it to you. You need to be taking down notes. So you mean to tell me that I'm just going to live this world, not quite living it, but let your gesture, let's switch the name up now. Now you see why I say gesture just guide me around without me really knowing the true facts of my environment, without me doing my research. So it's the moment I pick up a book that's outside of the indoctrination, I'm automatically wrong. Because I want to get an understanding and I'm not supposed to lean on my understanding that I found out from facts. But I'm supposed to just sit here and believe in what you're telling me and not challenge it. Never question God, as they say. Never question God. Like, oh, so I'm supposed to just let you guide me and say, we are all God's children. Now, wait a minute. So basically, I'm useless to myself. No, think about it. No, basically you are useless to yourself because it's always going to be, this is the blueprint of when people say, well, the Bible said, Jester did say in chapter, well, the pastor did say, and they start quoting scriptures. This is how people start quoting scriptures. This is where it comes from. Listen, some of you don't even believe that. Some of you might be one of those ones doing that very same thing, and you don't even know this. Then you mad, oh, Morpheus, you're wrong. Morpheus, no, I got a mind of my own. Morpheus, you Then why are you quoting scriptures? Well, no, slow down. Why are you quoting scriptures? Why don't you quote your own words? Why don't you write your own book? Why don't you, if you can't be there, if you wasn't there and you can't validate it, then why are you repeating it? It's called programming. And therefore, you're so used to sitting in the passenger seat. Mind you, are you understanding? Therefore, hey, it's an unconscious thing for you. It's easy for you to say, well, in chapter this, it said, it must be right. And you still, this is the advanced version. That's the advanced version of not thinking for yourself. It's the advanced version because it's called excuses. It's still called cognitive dissident because you're still not understanding. You're not taking responsibility for your life. You're still waiting for gesture to come in front of you and bounce around like a clown that it is. And you would never know the difference between that versus nature and reality. You know this by your own practices. You know this when you start battling. What will happen is your instincts will battle with your intellect. Your intellect, depending on how you are indoctrinated, needs to be cleaned out and filtered because your intellect is actually modified and programmed by the information that's given to you and bombarded unto you from the environment, especially when you are a little child. So when you are a child, you are automatically going to be programmed and it's going to stick with you. And that motherboard grid work is difficult to delete. It's difficult to uninstall what you've been lied with for so long. It's difficult. So listen, I understand the 20 and 30 years that you spend and knowing that you've been lied to, knowing that it's been a story the whole time, knowing that you have to rewrite yourself all over again is a fear for so many people. It's almost like you're a child all over again. And the foundation underneath you is ripped away. You are bare naked. Now you got to go out there and pick up some wood and build your own house. After you realize the house that you was in wasn't a real house. It was a deception. It was a placebo. It was an erected balloon house that deflated around you. Once you did what, Neo? Once you started thinking for yourself. Once you start thinking for yourself, you will find it out for yourself. Actually, as a matter of fact, that air house will start losing air. You will start hearing the air hissing somewhere. It will start because you are facing reality. You are facing your own challenges. You are going out there reading books. You're getting better. You're studying. You're going across country.